All right. Hello again. I'm going to try to make this one quick, so we'll see how it goes. But yeah, so success on social media for digital artists, it's a really complicated process, and it's a lot more complicated than just posting a beautiful artwork at the end, right? And it's kind of frustrating that it's this hard for us because, I mean, as a digital artist, as any artist, right? We're creating really original content. We're creating really original visuals and completely new things that no one on the internet's ever seen before. And yet somehow it really seems like your classic influencer type, who maybe is using like a pre-made template or something that, has been done a million times, do a lot better on social media. So you might start asking yourself, if you should just kind of give up on social media as an artist. And I would say that no, there's a lot of opportunity there. But the reason that we kind of feel stuck, I think, is that we really want to avoid being an influencer. We want to avoid being thought of as part of that trend. And so a lot of the things that we see influencers, I'm using that term because I feel like it kind of resonates with exactly what I'm trying to say. But basically, there's just kind of this the type of person who do really, really good on social media. And I feel like there's a lot of different techniques that they use that we don't really want to be a part of, like trends, like let's say, Reels or TikTok trends. It feels a little bit weird as an artist to try to engage with these trends. Like sometimes it's possible, sometimes it's not, but sometimes we just want to work on our projects. I don't want to be thinking about how to align with trends. I just want to focus on my project that I care a lot about. I just want to finish this drawing. I just want to put my ideas into reality, right? So what does social media mean for people like us? How can we use it without kind of going that trend and influencer route? And for a lot of us, I at least for me, I started out just posting my art onto Instagram, and I quickly realized that I wasn't really seeing progress. I was definitely seeing some progress, but especially in the past few years, as the algorithm has changed, posting the end result just doesn't cut it anymore. And there's actually kind of this fear of changing the style of content in case the followers that we have are no longer interested. So I am going to break down my content strategy for creating an absolute ton of content from each creative project. And this is what I am using now. This video is a part of it, and everything that I've been doing. I've been pumping out a lot of content recently, and this is all what I'm using. So I'm laying it out there, and feel free to use as much of it or as little of it as you feel inspired to. So no matter what it is, a sketch, a book, a website, any kind of creative project this can be used for. But I think the beauty of this is that even a small sketch, even just something that you're doing in your sketchbook really quickly, could potentially be split into more than 10 pieces of content. And it's just about which types of content you want to use from the system. So I will spoil one of the big secrets here. And of course, if you know me, it's not going to be that big of a secret, but it is all about documentation, documenting your process. And that is what I am always about. So stop thinking about social media the way that you would think of like your portfolio, your online portfolio or a gallery. You've probably been told this before. You probably already understand this by now, but that is just not how social media works. It is not your highlights reel. It is not your portfolio. So Instagram, I think, is the hardest to really wrap your head around because it's got this feed. We want it to look really pretty. If you can get over the need to make your feed look pretty and cohesive altogether, you will benefit a lot. I promise you. I know it's really hard to let go of that, but I've seen massive growth since I just kind of let go of that. And honestly, right now my feed looks like trash. I actually kind of want to clean it up. But just know that you don't need to have your feed looking good to get followers. That's just not what it's about. And I would urge you to not really think of your feed as an art piece. I talked a little bit about this in my style video. I know that people really love having that beautiful Instagram page, but it just isn't really what Instagram is supposed to be used for. It's not, the platform is not going to reward you for having a beautiful feed, basically. So wrap your head around that if you can, and you will see massive growth on social media. So I'm going to go over my system, but I've made this beautiful graph for you. And I want to impose that it all starts at the idea stage. So as a creative, I basically go through projects in a kind of cycle. And I'm going to walk through this just with an example of painting a picture of a cow. So I haven't done this or anything. It's just a hypothetical. But I think it's something basic enough and simple enough. I just want to paint a picture of a cow. That thinking about how you can break up something that simple into interesting pieces of content is a challenge that I wanted to take on. All right. So the first stage of any project is that I have the idea, right? And so in this case, it is I want to paint a picture of a cow. Maybe cows are trending and I got the idea somewhere. Then I start on the project. I start sketching a picture of a cow, for example. And then I will run into some kind of an issue, right? And this might happen multiple times, but I will run into an issue. Maybe for this example, it is that I have no idea what a cow's anatomy looks like, and I really don't. So that would really happen. And then, of course, following that, I will solve the issue. I will look up some images of cows. I will do some reference sketching. I will understand the anatomy and the common poses. And then, so I'll cycle through having problems, solving the problems, having problems, solving problems as many times as needed until I finally finish the project, right? So that is the life cycle of a project. Pretty simple, right? So within that, we have 4 basic states. And I am not counting the I have an idea stage because that is not a part of the project. I have the idea, and I would urge you to immediately after having any idea, try to start on it in some way. So you are already in the starting the project phase. I think it is all about making the time between having the idea and starting on the project as small as possible. You will benefit a lot if you can at least jot down a sketch of your idea. So we are just discounting the have an idea stage, but that is, of course, the spark that sets this all in motion. So the first stage is I am working on the project. The second stage is I'm stuck on something. The third stage is that I got unstuck. I solved the problem. And the fourth stage is that I just finished a project. So those are the only stages that I can ever be in, basically, when it comes to projects. Those are the only stages that my project can be in. And if I am working, I am in one of those stages. So depending on which stage I am in, there are different content types that I am going to think about creating from that stage. And notice that every single one of these stages is going to have a ton of content, and not just the I'm finished with the project stage. I think I've harped on that enough, but we see a lot of artists right now doing just that, just posting it after they're finished. Don't be like that. Think about it throughout the entire project, how you can create content, and I will break this down for you. But it is truly a huge mistake, and you will see why. So here is the system in a nutshell, and I'm going to go over it in detail because there is a lot to unpack here. But first of all, the working stage. You are going to want to think about sharing the process during this stage. If I am working on a project right now with no issues and it's going smoothly, it's something I've drawn a million times before. For me, that would just be, girls in streetwear, I guess. I will just be thinking about how I can share that process more. If I am working on hair and it looks really cool and the way that my strokes are looks really cool, I'll make sure that I take a video of that and post it, right? Little things like that. I'm just looking for things that make my process intriguing, things that are maybe quirky or fun, that make me stand out, that make my process stand out, or things that are just really fun to watch and observe. So I'll try to post those in short or medium form content. So on Twitter, maybe a photo of just my process, or maybe even a reel of, my actual drawing. So for the cow example, I guess I might even just tweet, just saw cows are trending and I can't wait to share this cow painting that I've been working on. Here's a work in progress picture. Or, maybe it's an Instagram reel a YouTube short or TikTok, those that type of like short form video of just like me starting on the cow's face or something like that. There's a ton in this section, but I just outlined these two because I feel like this is kind of an easy one and I talk about the process a lot. So you can probably already see that you could make multiple reels from the same project. You could take multiple work in progress pictures, right? You can take pictures of what your desk looks like while you're working and stuff like that. You can post stories, blah, blah, blah. There's a lot that goes into this part. And I think it's a lot more fun and easy to share a process when we are doing well, when we're not stuck. So we're done with that. That's I'm sure you can come up with more ideas there. But the fun part really comes in stage 2 when you get stuck. So when I get stuck, I look for ways to document the struggle. Whenever you get stuck on something, I think it's important to recognize it as an opportunity to learn something new and to document that learning process. And this is actually a huge opportunity that you will never see again. And that is really important to understand. When you are at the cusp of learning something new, you are in the best possible place to document the problem and its solution clear enough for others who are going to be in your situation later. This is something that a lot of people overlook and just completely forget about. We don't really want to document, this struggle. We're very focused on trying to solve the problem, right? But it's why we run into a lot of struggle later when we're trying to put our knowledge into words or teach a class on what we know. An expert, it's a lot harder for an expert to write a class for a beginner, for example. Basically, you would want someone who just went beyond the beginner stage to write a class for the beginner. It'll make a lot more sense to them. It's just a lot harder to put ourselves in the student's perspective once we've mastered something, once we've solved the problem. It becomes second nature to us. So trust me, do it. At least document how you're feeling. Take a picture of where you're stuck, and what you're feeling and what you're thinking so that you can reflect on it later after you've solved it, or just document the entire learning process as you're doing it if you can. So some examples for this cow thing, I might write a newsletter about, how learning cow anatomy is making me think about human anatomy differently, or just whatever I'm doing to try to learn, to try to solve my problem. I'll try to document my thoughts along the way. Maybe I won't even post it, right? Maybe this is all in a document that I will later kind of put together after I've figured it out. And that is the next stage. So in the third stage, when you've figured it out, what I would recommend doing is looking at ways to systematize your solution. So when you're fully solved it, you have an opportunity to kind of have a project inside of a project, which is why this expands in an infinite ways, and you could really make infinite content out of this. You should never be stuck for ways to make content if you are in the middle of a project. You have a chance to systematize your solution and help others to reach your conclusion a lot faster. So figure out a way that maybe they can skip some of the steps that you had to take, or even automate the process altogether. That makes sense only for a few things, I guess. But these can take the form of free content or paid content as your solutions become more valuable, or if you've solved something in a really unique way, you really could charge money just for that solution, right? Or down the line, you could make a course out of your solution. I might make an infographic that kind of lays out everything that I learned about cow anatomy, just in case anyone else is ever drawing a picture of a cow and they look this up. I might just make a collection of all of my study sketches and kind of put that up as study sketches of a cow. Maybe that can help someone who, even just likes my style. I love looking up people's study sketches because everyone has a different style. So reference drawing looks different for everyone. So it's kind of fun to see other artists, how they're doing it, as opposed to just drawing from photo reference, right? I might do a tutorial in, I don't know, it could be a YouTube tutorial or just a picture tutorial. It could even just be an Instagram slideshow, right? But how to learn to draw any animal in 1 hour, or how to draw a cow, right? Try to think generally about this, and I think that you can make a lot of really meaningful content for people. So if you're just studying an anatomy of a cow, right, you're learning about the anatomy, but you're also determining a solution for learning anatomy, right? So you can, down the line, after you've kind of gotten really good at this, you can make a class on how to study animal anatomy and like the way that you found the most success, right? So maybe I feel like I gained the most from my actual reference sketching, even though I read 3 books. I don't think I would do this, but like maybe I read a bunch of books, little books about cow anatomy just to kind of understand how it works. And I was like, that didn't really serve me at all. I didn't really learn anything that helped me through those books. It really took me actually drawing from reference cows in different poses. So maybe I just jot that down as a little note, and I can pop that into a class or a worksheet or a video about how to study anatomy. Maybe there's a worksheet opportunity that I can make, a worksheet on how to draw anything by breaking it down into shapes. There's just a lot of potential here, right? So it's all about analyzing what you do to solve the problem and how you can repurpose that in a system to make not only it easier for you to do this kind of thing again, right? If I ever need to study an animal's anatomy again, maybe I can just use this system and that I've created, or this worksheet about how to, break things down into shapes. I can reflect on that and then just make sure that I can do it better. And of course, obviously, I can offer that to people, to other artists, so that they can save some time. I would not limit yourself to just one, especially if you take the time to create this. So if I made a worksheet about how to draw anything by breaking it down into shapes, I would try to repurpose that same thing, right? I might make a YouTube video, how to draw anything by breaking it down into shapes. I would try to put that on as many platforms as I can so that it can reach as many people as it can reach. Maybe somebody doesn't like worksheets, but they watch videos when they're stuck on something. So they will find your content and they'll actually be able to get value from it. So it's all about making as many pieces of content from each project as you can, right? So try to repurpose. If you do create a system, think about ways that you can put that on different platforms or different mediums, I guess. A worksheet could be a video. Hopefully that made sense. But yeah, use all the avenues of content creation, make sure it gets found. And then finally, you finish the project, right? And obviously, you might have multiple problems to solve in any project, but once they are all solved, you are left with the finished project. And not only do you get to post this finished project to all of your channels, in whatever way makes sense, in whatever way you like to post your finished projects. So I mean, for this, it would be posting a painting of a cow, right? Finished, polished, beautiful painting of a cow that I made. I would publish that on every platform that I can in my portfolio, whatever. And you also get to use that finished piece basically as proof that your solutions work really well. So I might use that painting of a cow on the cover of my how to paint and how to learn the anatomy of any animal worksheet, right? So it serves as proof that you know what you're talking about. You were able to create this painting of a cow, so you know how to study animal anatomy. Makes sense, right? So you use it in the marketing materials for any products that you ended up creating along the way. You would add it to your portfolio of works, and it just improves your expertise, I guess, on that subject. So hopefully this makes sense. This is a lot more about content creation, but that's kind of the point of this. We as artists if we want to make it on social media, we do have to get good at thinking about content creation systems. And I think it's very fun to see how this can apply to artists. One thing that I want to note is that once you're finished with a project, I know I really like to just be like, I'm done with this project. I'm done with this painting. I don't even want to look at it anymore. I honestly hate it. I am done with it for a while. I'm going to go think about something else. But it is a really good time to reflect on what went well with the project and what could go better. So like, what did you really hate doing maybe? What did you love doing? What do you want to do more of? Check out how the content performed after the fact, and pretty much all of the types of content that you did along this project. And this is an opportunity to build more systems around that project and what you liked, what you didn't like, and how to improve your project. So based on your reflection, you might find some more problems. Like maybe I didn't really think of it as a problem at the time, but I spent 4 hours just doing the line work and I redid it 5 times, right? Like maybe there's something there and maybe something could be improved. You're looking for opportunities to systematize, kind of just to help yourself and like make the process more fun and make it faster. You could make your future work a little bit easier and more enjoyable by just creating systems for yourself. So look to benefit yourself with this reflection first and kind of look to automate or offload parts of your work that you don't really look forward to, right? Or systematize it to make it really easy and fast, to kind of just make sure that you don't waste time or energy on stuff that you don't enjoy, because it's all about having fun and enjoying the process. So obviously, sometimes we have to push through and do stuff we don't enjoy, but personally, I'm pretty bad at that. So I try to look for opportunities to make life easier in those ways. I love doing line work, so that's kind of a bad example. I would spend all day on line work, and I often do. But a lot of times I noticed that I spent a lot of times going back and forth about choosing a color palette. So I have a huge Pinterest board of just color palettes. And now I kind of just look to that instead of trying to do something from scratch. A lot of it is my past work that I just kind of want to repurpose those color palettes because I loved them. So do things like that, make systems, make, a board or whatever you need to do to make work a little bit faster. And then, of course, obviously, you can also repurpose some of these systems into content or products. That's kind of the fun of this. Like maybe somebody else would also benefit from seeing my color palette board. I'm totally down to share that if anyone is interested. But yeah, I think it's really fun to just think about how we can not only make our own lives easier, but also other artists who are just, maybe right behind us or maybe our exact peers. So you can see though, like the main point of this is that the finished product is truly not even the main part of your creative project. Like it should definitely not be the only thing that you're posting. And in fact, it really does the least for your social media once you're done with it. That's actually, that's the least interesting part. There's actually much more potential in the problems that you run into along the way. So when I hit that problem stage, it's just really important to notice that like, that's the potential, that's where it like explodes into an infinite amount of projects, right? And I feel like I used to really think that running into problems when I was drawing really sucked. And now that I kind of understand how this works, I can recognize that running into problems is kind of the best part. And it's kind of what this is all about. And it points you directly to the content ideas that are going to be extremely valuable to people. So remember that if you're running into problems, others are going to run into them too. I think it's actually really freeing as an artist because it means that the ideas that I have for, like a sketch that I want to do, I don't really have to think or question whether people would spend money on it, right? I can just draw a picture of a cow. I don't have to do research to see if it's marketable or anything. Like I really don't need to think about the value that I might be putting into this world with this painting. I can just draw whatever I feel like drawing in the moment. And I know that I can create content and valuable solutions for people based around the problems that I run into as I'm creating that project for other artists. And that can potentially turn into income streams, as you get really good at creating systems and potentially classes, that can be an income stream for you. So it all has to start from noticing that the problem areas are really the biggest potential areas for content creation, and start creating content around the problems that you're solving as a creative. And again, I do not think that this system should be limited to paintings. I think you can pretty much apply this to anything that you're working on, any project, but especially creative projects. There are a lot of people who want to be creatives. They want to solve these same problems. And if you can give them an easy way to do that, it'll be very valuable to people. All right. I think I've harped on that enough. If you enjoyed this or you got something from it, let me know in the comments. If you think I'm full of it, let me know in the comments. Give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down, whatever you feel is best. I would love to hear any thoughts that you have on this system or any content strategies that you think work even better. So yeah, check out my newsletter if you like getting things in your inbox. I basically talk about the same stuff that I do here, although I'm going to try to add some more here on the YouTube channel soon. But yeah, trying to publish at least every week lately. So until next time, I will see you.